me hit the button, for God's sake. If I hit the button that says go live, don't then ask me, are you really sure you want to go live, or are you just pretending? Are you going to change your mind because, there's no backsies here?
Right.
Yeesh. Okay, so we're here. We're here in Back to the Future. And we are in... Okay, it looks like we're still got a minute or two. Let me go over to the YouTubes. My videos. There we are. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we're over there in the YouTubes too. So, where's my effing cursor? What are you doing, Warren?
I don't want to be that close to the computer because I don't want to have an extreme close up. I don't want to lean back. There we go. Now it's on my chest.
Until you move.
No, I'm just going to lean back. Hey. Yes.
Okay, so you're a cyborg tonight.
Me. Don't make me do the echo.
No, don't do the echo. Oh my God. I apologize profusely, and I will not make you do the echo. Okay, for everyone who is over there on the book faces, we are live. We have two people. It might just be Warren and Dave.
It's just the three of us.
Actually, I'm not in there yet, so it's not me.
Okay, well, now we're down to one.
Scared him away.
Well, actually, it's saying we got 6 people here in StreamYard.
It's a dirty lie.
I see 3.
Okay. Well, I don't know who to believe at this point.
Does it really matter?
No, because we're going to do it regardless. I've done this show with no one watching. And
Usually
didn't
all
care.
the time. Kind of like Guy's Daily Drive. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the weird thing about Guy's Daily Drive is I will see comments come up on screen, but because I'm looking at my iPhone screen, it's so small that I can't read the comment. It's not like while I'm driving at 50 miles down the road, it's like, hold on a second, traffic. I'm going to check and see what the comments are right now. It just doesn't work.
It's probably not a good idea.
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea at all. All right, let me get over here to brands. Okay, we are going to get started here in just a minute. Go into a countdown. Check this out. Tonight on the Mac to the Future Go livecast, a big name in software declares for Big Sur. iOS 14 may screw over a bunch of platforms on money because it's bigger on privacy for users. Microsoft makes a Windows tablet that isn't, and there's a new Intel Mac with amazing specs, but maybe you shouldn't buy one. And lastly, New Jersey says the coppers can make you unlock your phone. See? That was really awful, but doesn't matter. We're going on with the show anyway tonight. And all of that is tonight and more on the Mac to the Future livecast. Go. And good evening, everyone. I am your humbled host, not humble, humbled host, Guy Searle from all different kinds of stuff. If you look around for me, I'm there like a bad rash. But I am not alone. I am also joined by Mr. David Ginsburg. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How's it going? I like that cool pre-roll entry there. I was some cool
Yeah,
cool music there at the beginning before your the intro.
yeah.
I
I'm
like
trying
that.
to remember where I got it, and now I can't think of where it was. But also joining us from a beach near you, or near him anyway, is Mr. Warren Sklar. Hello there, Mr. Sklar. I'm
man.
really curious to see how you're going to sound now.
I could put on the echo if you want.
No, please don't put on. The echo is bad.
Echo's bad.
Echo
So
is bad.
I am in Jersey, and your Jersey accent was terrible. Unless you were going
Of course, no, it wasn't a Jersey accent. It was more like a
proper
old
1920s.
time, yeah, gangster, and it still wasn't good.
There we go.
And everyone is saying thank you for that. That was wonderful.
Awful.
Okay. Well, we
Joyzy.
are Joyzy. It's all into Joyzy. We have a bunch of stuff to talk about tonight. And number one, thanks to all of you who are joining us here for the live cast, whether it's on Facebook or on the YouTubes. We appreciate the fact that you have taken the time to come and join us this evening. We have a number of things to talk about tonight, guys. Let's start off with some quick takes. Parallels 16 was released with support of macOS Big Sur in virtual as virtual. It's your virtual machine organizer, I guess. Is that a good way to talk about Parallels as an organizer?
virtual machine software.
It's a virtual
VM
machine.
software.
The version 16 just came out this week, and I actually installed a standalone virtual of Big Sur, and was very happy that it worked. And because it wasn't working in 15, they had a big checklist of stuff. No workaround yet. Not working yet. So you can install Parallels on Big Sur, and it should work. And you also can create a virtual machine. Like I'm running Catalina still with 16, and I was able to get the download of Big Sur, and it did install, and it's working.
Is that on your main machine?
And Parallels, yeah.
So you're running Catalina right now
I'm on
through
Catalina
Parallels
on
on a
the
VM.
Oh, not doing the show, no, but
Just
Yeah,
kind
that
of
would
like,
be really-
really? Are you?
oh,
Is that what you're going to do?
That's that person over there who does that.
Yeah.
I too installed Parallels 16. I have had 15. Didn't see much of a difference, but I wasn't doing Big Sur stuff.
Well, is that a free upgrade?
So there's two versions of Parallels. There's one that you can buy outright, and there's one that you get a year subscription for. The outright version is usually $99, and the outright version was normally $79. But I got some kind of Mac bundle that was really good for I think I sent it out at one point. It was like maybe $30, and you got that along with a couple other things like PDF pen and things like that. So I'm on a yearly subscription. The yearly subscrition gets a free upgrade.
It's $50 a year.
The standard gets you have to pay a little bit. You have to pay a lot of it to upgrade it to the 16, but not as much as the full version of it. So,
Well, but what a lot of people would argue is that if it's still working, why upgrade? But
it doesn't. That's
with
the thing.
Well, yeah, because Big Sur is going to be such a huge update, since they're this is like the bridge between Intel and Silicon.
Well, nobody's saying that Parallels 16 is going to be compatible with Apple Silicon. They're just saying it's compatible right now with Big Sur. So
Right, and
that's a whole different situation.
I thought you guys were saying that it wouldn't install.
No,
15 wasn't working.
I've been a subscriber to Parallels forever. I mean, I go back to version 8, and then every year I've got the Pro version, I think it is, and I pay $50 a year for the renewal. It includes one license, and then I've got right now I've got Windows virtual machine. I even install like Mojave, another version of Catalina to test things. And then the cool thing to me was I was able to actually install Big Sur because you could not do it in 15, so that you had to get the update to 16 in order.
It wasn't a limitation with the processor. It was a limitation
No,
just with the software.
limitation of the software itself. It's not the
And
processor.
a lot of people, rightly or wrongly, say that Parallels and VMware sometimes kind of use the upgrade of the operating system as an excuse to make people upgrade to the newer version of the software.
I don't think that's the case this time, though, because I have
No.
used older versions of VMware on multiple operating systems without updating, and it still worked.
But it still works. But if you look at every release note, and I've done the same thing, if you look at every release note for new Parallels, it'll say now fully supports Catalina, even
Right,
though
'cause
it kind of
they
does
weren't taking
before.
time. They weren't taking the time to update 15, so because they knew they were moving to 16, they said, okay, we're just gonna put it in 16.
But maybe they won't do much with 16 because eventually they'll go to 17.
Well, they do every year. I mean,
I know.
they have yearly. Yeah, you're funny.
But
Yeah.
we don't know if it's going to work with the silicon. So that's
Humor,
that we don't know.
humor is relative. Okay. New Jersey Supreme Court has ruled that the police can demand that you unlock your phone if you are arrested so that they can search it for evidence, which I don't think this is going to hold up in the U.S. Supreme Court because I believe that violates the Fourth Amendment. Or is it the First Amendment?
First Amendment.
First Amendment. There is an amendment in the U.S. Constitution that says no to Jersey coppers trying to get your iPhone. Though
Okay,
I don't
fair.
think it's worded that way, but the intent is there.
Isn't the first one freedom of speech? What does that have to do with this?
Yeah, it may be search and seizure, whichever one that is.
The first one's
I'm-
definitely freedom of speech. So that's,
Yeah,
Anyway,
I'm-
it's not first. It's probably fourth.
Okay, I am not here's a huge shocker to everyone. I'm not a constitutional scholar.
But you play
Wow,
on TV.
I know.
But you play one.
Yeah, I do. I play one in livecasts. Okay.
You have the wrong lower third on here, by the way. Do you know?
Oh, I do. I thought I had turned that off. I know it's
don't
here
turn me off.
somewhere.
Don't turn me
Here it
off.
goes. It's gone. It's all gone. Okay. Another big shocker. East Texas jury rules against Apple and awards a $500 million to Panoptis, who I've never heard of before, for infringing on patents related to cellular, I think, that I guess they hold. And again, the story I was reading on this was kind of weird because they were saying that this was the first in-person big jury trial in East Texas since all the COVID stuff happened. And when I read that, I was sitting there thinking, if there was one bright light that COVID-19 had created was all of these stupid patent lawsuits they couldn't get, especially in East Texas, they couldn't get juries together to screw companies out of money in one direction or another.
It was for violating LTE patents.
Okay, yeah, I sincerely doubt this is going to hold up, unless Apple basically is like, look, if we give you X number of dollars, will you just go away? We'll take your phony baloney licensing agreement, and the big problem with these kinds of rulings isn't so much that it's Apple that's going to get hit. That kind of opens the door for any company that makes cell phones that uses LTE patents, which, let me think about that for a second. It's pretty much all of them that they can go ahead and start suing all of them now in the same Texas courts and probably get more money. So I'm hoping that Apple isn't going to cave on this and they'll just say, no, we're not going to deal with this.
I mean, they're getting sued seems like every other day by somebody. They're a
Well,
large
I mean,
company.
this is a $2 trillion company now.
Right.
And
Nobody's working. People need money.
yeah, so everybody wants a piece of it. Speaking of money, Tim Cook's net worth may now be over $1 billion. So, yeah, good for Tim Cook. Good.
He's starting to
for
donate a lot
Tim
of his money.
Cook. Yeah, I don't believe he has any heirs.
I don't
So-
He's selling back. He sold back a lot of his stock options to get people to buy up more stock.
Yeah,
But I know he's becoming a philanthropist and he wants to donate.
And supposedly
Well, why
he has
not?
supposedly he has
Like
a little mean
Bill
streak in
Gates
him
and
too. Like
Warren Buffett, all
like
the other billionaires, they do it.
supposedly he has a little mean streak in him too. An article came out saying he has a little mean streak, like a little Steve Jobs in him. So good for him.
yeah. So,
Somebody should.
but on the same token, if Billy Gates jumped off the Brooklyn Bridge, would you do it too, Timmy? Would you?
Leave Bill Gates alone. He's a good guy.
Leave Billy alone. He's a good guy now. Okay, over to the main stories. iOS 14 privacy settings may screw Facebook on revenue, and Apple too. Tracking users as they go from app to app in iOS is about to see some big changes, and this has app developers and Facebook in a tizzy. Facebook relies a lot on advertisements from game developers to get users to do in-app purchases or purchase similar games to what they're already using. And without a lot of the critical data that they currently get, some developers won't know exactly what to target to users, so they'll probably spend less on advertising. This is seriously bad news for Facebook, as the service is one of the main recipients of that advertising. Ironically, Apple could also be a loser if people start buying less games, since a considerable percentage of what Apple receives from app purchases is related to games. Apple claims they don't object to targeted advertising, but that users should be allowed to opt in or out. So let's start with Warren. Warren, what do you think about all that?
Companies, like it or not, some companies make their money on advertising, and that's how they stay in business, and that's how we use them. And if they didn't, and whoever, Facebook and whatever, YouTube and all these things that rely on advertising, stop doing that, then they're going to start either go away or start charging. So those are the options we have, and whether we hate it or not, then they won't be there. So if you don't like it, and you're not going to get it at that point. They have to make their money somewhere.
Yeah,
no Apple
or
is
they
fine.
or they won't exist as a platform.
Or they just won't exist. And if you don't want to use them, that's fine. And you don't want to, you don't like the fact that they're advertising, that's fine. But nobody's forcing you. And it's almost common knowledge to most people at this point that that's what they're doing. And again, if they don't do it, they won't be there, and then we'll be sad. Right?
Okay, Dave. Will you be sad, Dave?
No, I won't. Honestly.
Okay.
I mean, if anything, this makes me happy that Apple has done things in iOS 14, just like when they started seeing applications that were using the clipboard. The privacy settings are great. I mean, we're gonna have much better control of how our devices are gonna stay more private. They'll never be 100% private, but I feel nothing for Facebook when it comes to that. I mean, they can handle it. I mean, they've got plenty of other means of
Options.
and options for advertising. So to me, it's a non thing.
Well, I know that in using the Big Sur beta, there's a lot more begging from various websites. I get a lot, even right now with Catalina, I get lots of, you'll start to read a story, and as you scroll down, suddenly the screen will dim, and you'll get this big white box on the screen saying, "We rely on advertising, so blah blah blah." Let us put cookies on you and trackers and all the rest of that. And yeah, not so much now with trackers, but with cookies. Which it isn't that far from being the same thing. One of the things that I've seen in Big Sur, especially with Safari, is at a glance you can see how many trackers people have on their pages that kind of follow you from place to place. And some of the worst ones I saw were actually on CNN and Fox, where each of
horrible.
them had like 50 trackers. That
They all have them. I lived in the UK for a while,
Mhm.
and some websites here GDPR made it
transparent.
mandatory in Europe, in London, to put that on the page saying that the site uses cookies and you have to accept it. So when you live there, you realize every site, almost like 98% of the sites you go to, have to use cookies and track and everything like that. Because
And
over there,
I see a lot of the same trackers over and over and over.
But
again.
it's not. I mean, you'll call out some of the websites that you're talking about, but trust
Yeah.
me, go over there and go to the same websites, and there'll be a big box saying this site uses cookies. Hit OK to accept it.
And do they
So-
do the same thing where they won't let you view the content unless you accept the trackers and cookies?
No, and a lot of places here don't too. I mean, there's a few that will make you turn off the ad blocker, and that's when I back out of that. Like,
Yeah.
it's Forbes one. Forbes might be one. I don't know
Ugh,
the other.
Forbes is the
Well,
worst.
Business Insider does that crap
Business
too.
Insider too.
Mac,
So they're
Mac
like,
World.
yeah,
I've
Yeah.
stopped going. I've stopped going to any site.
yeah. I won't turn off
That-
my ad blocker, so that's
No.
that's where I stop. But anything else that say hit OK to accept that you're getting cookies, or when we'll say continue, continue without supporting us or whatever like that, and we'll let you through. I'll do that. But trust me, if you go to a place where GDPR is law, like England, the sites that you think that are not tracking you, they're tracking you because they will tell
Yeah.
you there that they
Well,
are.
almost all the major sites are,
They
unfortunately.
all are. Yeah,
Right.
I mean, just look at your cookies and you'll see what you got in there.
The only cookies that I want are the ones with chocolate chips.
And Oreos.
Ooh, Oreos, yeah. Double stuff. Okay. When is a Windows tablet not a Windows tablet? And that's when it doesn't actually run Windows. Microsoft is releasing a dual screen phone tablet thing called the Surface Duo with a hinge between two OLED screens. Total size of the two screens together is a little more than 8 inches and is running a modified version of Android along with some custom versions of applications for MS Office. The tech inside is really nothing spectacular. It's mostly the tried and true stuff that we've all seen before. And the starting price is $1,400. Now, before anybody gasps or starts to talk about, oh, it's way too much money. When Samsung released their dual screen tablet, what was it, last year? The huge fail that was. It was in the $2,400 range, I believe. And pretty much most of the devices that you can buy or have been able to buy that somehow merge together two screens, whether they do it well or not, have all been well over $2,000. So the fact that Microsoft is able to put together a device like this with two OLED screens and a starting price under $1,500 is actually pretty impressive as far as the price goes. As far as the tech inside goes, I've always kind of been on the fence with a device like this. I really don't see the point of it. But that's why we have other people here to talk about it. So we're going to start with Dave. Dave, what do you think of a device like this?
Yeah, I mean, folding devices are still aren't there yet. I know Samsung's coming out with one too, but I just
Another
took a
one.
look at another fold. Yeah, to replace their embarrassment for the first one that didn't even make it to market after it got to the
Reviewers.
media.
Yeah.
I remember Joanna Stern had it, and then within minutes it broke. I mean, I have this feeling if either Microsoft's going to have a hit or it's going to ruin their reputation. I think it's just going to be something that's not going to bode well if it has any issues. But there's just too many mechanical things to go wrong in that fold. I mean, and I guess it's going to be a phone, but I mean, $1,400. I mean, the high end iPhone is going to, if
Is that or more?
Max I think it maxes out like around $1,300. But of course, you're also going to get 256 or 512 in storage. So I didn't even see what the storage is going to be on this unit, um, but it looks like it's only going to be it'll be on the top three networks: AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. So, but it's going to be interesting to see what happens with this thing. I'm looking at the first views of it. It's not sexy looking, honestly.
No,
People
and
like people.
I will give Microsoft credit where credit is due. What they didn't try to do was have like a seamless screen, which apparently was the holy grail for a long time and it never worked. It always broke, or within a relatively short amount of time, you had like a line down wherever the seam was, where the device actually folded. In this case, Microsoft is basically saying, we're going to take two separate screens and we're going to split whatever the content is between those two screens when you open it up. And yeah, as you run your finger across, you're going to feel a little bump as you go from one screen to the other.
Right.
And I think
yeah.
I think it's not a more elegant way to do it, but it's a way that makes a lot more sense than what everybody else was trying to do. It'll certainly probably hold up better. What do you think, Warren?
So the storage options, you get 128 gigabyte for the 1490 or 1400. You get 256 for the 1500 is what you're getting.
More loud.
Oh. Huh?
We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
1400 for the 128. 1500 for the 256.
Okay. What do you think of the device just as a concept?
So I mean, it's not a folding screen.
No.
Just like you said, it's not a folding screen. It's like two little iPad minis.
Two screens.
It's two screens. It's like two iPad minis on a hinge, with no bezel, more or less. And it's they're running Android, but it's a Fire tablet runs Android too, and we call it a Fire tablet. So be it whatever you want to call it, that's what it is. It's just skinned differently. The bottom part could become a soft keyboard as well, so you could type on the bottom screen and flip it open and use the top screen.
Yeah, it becomes almost like a little mini laptop in a way.
Mini laptop. You could drag, and those soft keys never really work well, anyways. But
yeah.
And then you could drag things between the two screens. I mean, it's a cool concept. More screen size is good for people who want it without having to carry it. Two screen sizes. If somebody was able to put two iPhone Maxes together the same way and on a little hinge, we would be interested, I think, in that. The fact that it's kind of an Android thing, we're not so interested. We're not going to pay $1,400, but would you pay $1,400 for two like that thing running iOS? I guess is the question.
I wouldn't. If I want something with that screen size, which I think is 8.1 inches, when it's all the way opened up,
Maybe.
I'll carry an iPad Mini, or something else, or an Android tablet that's around that size. The convenience factor of being able to fold it back up and put it in my pocket, I don't understand where the market is for something like this. I think that people who want larger screens will just go and get a tablet with a larger screen rather than deal with all the eccentric behavior of a hybrid device like this.
I mean, if it works, it works. But people were saying the same thing about like the Max phones and the tablets. So I mean, it depends on what you're using it for and what you're doing. But certainly, if you need the screen real estate and you don't feel like carrying it around a tablet, it might be interesting to you at that point. I think it's going to continue. I think this trend will continue of trying to get as much screen size into a portable,
small device. Well, I mean, iPads are portable.
No, you can't put an iPad in your pocket.
Well, if you had really big pockets.
think that one's got a mini in one of my pockets.
All right. Last up for the evening, there's a new Intel iMac in town, and it's actually a very, very impressive machine, up to 10 cores. It's an you can get it up to 10 cores with an i9, running each core running, I think in what do they call that when it's like turbo boost mode or whatever, at almost 5 gigahertz.
5 gigs.
Yeah, you can put up to 128 gigs of RAM in this thing, up to, if you have the money, 8 terabytes of SSD storage in this. This is a beast. This is a beast of an iMac, and it certainly rivals the performance of the former King of the Hill, which was the iMac Pro with Xeon processors. Probably not if you get the one that has 18 cores, but there's a limit to how much regular people, I think, are willing to spend on these kinds of machines. I believe that this iMac with just hardware enhancements tops out at around $8,500 if you get like everything, the 128 gigs of RAM, 8 terabytes of internal storage, which is where most of that $8,500 is going to come from. The full 10-core i9 and all the rest of that. This is a monster machine, and if it had been released prior to WWDC, I think everybody would have been losing their minds. But I think that with the announcement that Apple, of course, is moving to silicon, that this almost feels like whistling past the graveyard. Is there really any reason to rush out and buy this machine if you have something that's already working? And let's start with Warren. What do you think, Warren?
I mean, what you said. If you have something that's working and it's good for you, then probably not. But if you need a computer and you want an iMac, and it's fine. I mean, it's going to last the life of the machine before the Apple Silicon will take hold, I think. I think it's going to take years and years for the transition to fully happen, and I think a lot of people won't even notice. If you have the machine for 5 or 6 years, I think you'll get your money's worth out of it. I wouldn't max it out. I mean, I wouldn't tell anybody to get a max out version of it because that. But if somebody was looking for a new desktop and wanted to shell out $1,500 for a Mac, the iMac, I think they would get their money's worth out of it.
Okay, Dave?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing you didn't mention is the display. They have that new nano texture glass. That's
I don't get
$500.
What is the advantage of that?
What is it? What it is it's got the crystal clear screen. The colors are more vivid. They were talking about it in iMore. And MacBreak Weekly it's just amazingly good looking glass, but it's expensive, and they give you a special microfiber cloth to wipe it, so you'd be worried you ruin it, but they say you can only use water with the microfiber cloth and the sprays to clean the screens.
Really?
But it does give you a much crisper display. I mean, for $500, it better do something to give. To I mean, good for graphic designers, good for video editors, giving a much crisper display than what the standard glass does. But no, I agree. I don't think anybody that should be buying this is only somebody who's in the market, and they may have like say we were just talking about this last night on Mac Voices. It's just do you get a machine that's if you have a 2012, let's say, and you're ready to upgrade, then you may want to think about doing something like that. But I mean, this thing's a beast. I mean, even if you get the core of it, and even if you just go like maybe 16 gigs
one.
of RAM, you get 16 gigs of RAM, and you're getting a 5. I'm looking at the one with the 5K Retina display, and you get the 512 solid state gigabit Ethernet, and this still maxes out to the 5 gigahertz turbo boost. It's a pretty gosh darn nice machine.
And that's 6-core. That's a 6-core i7, I think, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's
8 core. It's 8 core.
The
8 core.
The standard top of the line 27 inch is 8-core i7.
8 core 10th gen, right?
Okay.
The 27
and
inch.
yeah, and I mean, even right there, that's an impressive machine. And
Yeah,
as
no, it
long
is.
as
It
the
is.
Mac OS will still support Intel Macs, and I'm guessing it'll be at least a few years before there's any hard cutoff on there.
Yeah, man.
You're good to go.
I keep saying that if you need a computer, there's no rhyme or reason not to get a Mac with Intel. I mean, you're going to be solid for 5 years at least.
If
The
you need a
silicon,
computer.
if you need one. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with this machine for. I may even stick it for the full 3 years through the warranty because I'm always one that would like to upgrade.
I
After
make
2
no
years.
promises on anything.
Well, we know you don't. But I'm surprised you haven't bought one already.
What if I could?
Or has
So,
he?
yeah, he may have just not telling us.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'd be kind of leery buying the first generation of the Apple Silicon machine, and I
Yeah,
don't
I
even
was
know if
just
they're
thinking
going to be.
I think that's a good topic. No, not for right now, but
I would
if
get it
you-
as a second machine, like a laptop.
well,
maybe.
here's
Yeah,
the
laptop,
thing.
but iMacs, yeah. I don't even know. Who knows if iMacs are even going to have silicon for at least another year? So it's very possible because they may just do like the Mac Mini, or they may do just
Yeah.
the MacBook Pros and the MacBook Air to start, and then go from there.
Well, I think back to when Apple first switched to Intel, and they had the Core 2 Solo machines,
Yep.
which were really not that impressive. It was almost like Apple was putting machines together as quickly as they could to get something out in the market that was going to run Intel, and didn't particularly care whether it was a decent computer, because all of those were replaced pretty much within, I think, about 6 months with Core 2 Duo machines, which were much better at the time. And I can see that happening with Silicon. I don't know if I would get a first gen Silicon machine. I think that if what you have right now is working and working well, just hang on to it. Wait until at least the second gens come out.
Well,
And-
I mean, you gotta. I mean, it's unfair to say that until it's out and we see.
Right. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
we have no idea, but I mean, just based on
thing could
past
come out and
performance-
it could be like right. But that's what you.
But it
I mean,
it was the same thing with PowerPC when the PowerPC machines first started to replace
right. But they're touting
the 68K machines.
they're touting speed as one of the reasons why they're doing this. So that's.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was the same case back then, but they're saying we're doing this because it's going to be faster, and they've said it.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and and compatibility is going to be a thing as well.
Right. So I mean, if the thing comes out and it's like $200 cheaper than every other model, and it's twice as fast as like the current Intel Macs, then
Well,
maybe you
twice
won't
I think would be a stretch, but if it's at least as fast,
I'm just saying, yeah.
then maybe go ahead and get the first gen. If it's at least as fast running the current software as what you currently have, then yeah, why not? Go ahead and buy it. You're future proofed for even longer than whatever computer it is that you're going to be replacing.
It's just unfair to make that decision now because we have no idea what the thing's.
Yeah, we don't. We have no idea what's coming down the road. But we do know that it won't be filled with Intel processors.
Or golden puppies.
Or golden puppies. And I would be very hesitant to get a Mac that was filled with golden puppies. I like golden puppies. All right, we are going to jump out of here for this evening. Dave, if people wanted to get a hold of you, how would they do it?
They would go to intouchwithios.com and the podcast In Touch with iOS, and the co-host with my co-host Warren Scar. We do record usually on Thursday nights, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Usually, probably go a little later tomorrow, but yeah, come check us out, listen to the show, and you can also find me on Twitter at DaveG65.
All right, Warren.
Yeah, whatever he said. Sounds good.
Yeah, you're at the beach. You're a happy beach boy
I'm at the beach with the puppies and my
With-
in-laws, which is
with the
not-
golden puppies. Yeah, we just like no screaming for cake this time.
No, they are there, but they're so I came up with a hobby. I got myself a nice well, we could talk about this another day, but this is a Thunderbolt 3 drive enclosure with an NVMe drive in
NVM,
it.
yeah.
NVMe, yeah. And it's like super fast. So instead of playing with parallels, I've installed Windows on here and Big Sur on here. And I could write from here and not use any of my internal storage, and it's almost just as fast. As
How big's the
Yeah,
drive?
512 in that thing. So
that's
it's a
enough for a couple
fast.
of operating systems.
Yeah, it's just a test the operating systems out. So
Yeah.
that's what I've been
Cool.
doing today to avoid talking to humans. So
Yeah, but then here you are with us. Well, do we count? Do we really count?
No, this is you guys aren't.
Yeah, you did specify humans.
I did.
Okay, so that's something to remember right there. If you'd like to get a hold of me, my email address is guy@mymac.com. My Twitter handles are MacBarrett and or VertShark. The podcasts are the mymac.com podcast that I do with Mr. Gazmaz Malpaz, as well as Guy's Daily Drive that I don't do every day, but I am driving and it is me. So 2 out of 3 ain't bad. What else? If you'd like to support all the crazy stuff that I do, you can buy me a coffee, ko-fi.com/Mac. You can become a Patreon, patreon.com/Mac Barrett. And then there's also PayPal, paypal.me/Mac Barrett. Lastly, the echoes. Please, I'm going to mute you. Stop, please, for the love of God.
I stopped.
That was very painful. If you would like to go on over to YouTube, you can view all my video content there. And while you're there, make sure that you like, share, subscribe. And if you miss it the first time, like, share, subscribe. Just go over there and look for VertShark. It'll be there. Speaking of VertShark, there is also the VertShark.com website. Hey, where almost all of my audio and video is available as it is created. And I'd like to thank Mr. Ginsberg and Mr. Sklar, except for that last echoey bit, because that really hurt.
Don't make me do this.
Don't do it. No.
won't do it.
No. Bad Warren.
Gonna have to take that mech away from him.
I'm gonna play with it, see if I can get it to work better.
Well, it works. I won't necessarily say it works well, but it does work.
Can you hear me? Can you
Yes.
hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Oh, I'm not talking about hearing you. I'm talking about the echo. Echo was...
Well, I didn't know it had. What microphone actually has an echo like thing? Like it's not even a button; it's a dial. So
yeah,
you can
not
make
many.
You can make it less, even more,
And
more.
you paid $50
more,
for
more.
that?
Maybe it was like 30. I don't remember. I'll look it up. But whatever.
Okay.
Because I forgot
We are-
to bring my other one, and I'm here, so okay.
Yeah, we're going to get out of here. So
That's a good idea. I am too.
thank you to everyone who has taken the time to join us here on the Mac to the Future Go livecast, and we will see you all next week right here, same time, same bat channel. So say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
Good
everybody.
night, everybody. And I
Good
am
night,
actually
everybody.
out of here too, so I will see you guys later.
Okay, bye, Warren. Okay. We're done. Finito. Finished. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. And once again, thanks to everyone who has put up with us this evening. We really appreciate it. This will be out over on the YouTubes and Facebook in its edited form. Either maybe tonight, but more than likely tomorrow. Yeah. What's the hurry? You in a hurry or something? So good night, everybody.
Goodbye.